Well, BDC Capital reports 88% of Canadian venture capital and private equity firms feature women on their investment teams. The company claims its investments in green initiatives and women and minorities will have a long-term financial return. To talk more about that is Paula Cruickshank, Senior Vice President of Fund Investments at BDC Capital. And Paula, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
How does that number compare, the 88% to the last few years?
So we've certainly seen an increase. When we started the survey about 4 years ago, we were closer to 60%. So 66% was what we saw in 2022. And now as we're announcing, getting a lot closer to 90%.
And is that starting to pay off? I know we don't actually have financial numbers yet on what kind of return you're getting on that, but you're seeing increased productivity and you're developing some metrics. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, it's very early days to be talking about that impact. What we see is that innovation is moving forward with diverse viewpoints. So that's really the focus. This survey looks at benchmarking so that companies can compare themselves to one another. So basically the understanding for venture capital and private equity firms is that they're going to be able to have a pipeline of talent and be able to address succession issues as they move forward.
And what are the positives of bringing diversity, and are there any negatives or any concerns?
So we certainly see that there's positives, and we've reached out to our general partners, and they certainly see that there are some positives both at the general partner level and also in the portfolio companies that they're working with. So those portfolio companies can work with teams that are more likely to come up with new ideas. They're definitely able to, as I mentioned, have a pipeline for succession. But I think the other real advantage is, continuing to bring new talent in. I would say that's the one area we have a little bit of concern at this point in time. Last year, the numbers were higher in terms of bringing that diverse talent in at more junior levels. So we'll definitely keep our eye on it. But I would say that's probably the disadvantage, is that we're trying to make sure we keep our eye on junior talent continuing to be representative.
And now you launched as well $200 million platforms for Black and Indigenous entrepreneurs. How are things going with that?
So we were excited to announce the managing partner for our Black Entrepreneurship Fund. That was in February of this year. We're continuing to look for our managing partner for the Indigenous Fund. But in the meantime, we've been able to work with a number of Indigenous funds that are working with companies. So we continue to remain committed to that space. I would say the other space we're very active in is working with women-led firms. So our Thrive platform, which was announced in 2022, includes a lab where we can work with very early stage companies. It also includes a $300 million fund that we can invest in later stage companies.
And then you've invested about $1.6 billion since 2016 into clean tech and climate tech. What's been happening with that? What's the latest on that?
Yeah, there's been talk about how challenging that space can be. Certainly, it takes a long time for those technologies to be adopted, and the ability to prove out technologies in the environmental clean tech space takes a long time. So there's been quite a bit of government money put towards it. We're actually thrilled because we've been able to crowd in private capital there as well, and we continue to make progress. The benchmarking study that we were looking at really does show that both our general partners and portfolio companies see this as an important area to take action. So I would say that the conversation continues to happen, but we've got both a sustainability fund and a clean tech practice at BDC, and they're both making investments on a regular basis.
Okay, well, we'll have to wrap up there, but Paula, thank you very much for joining us. Paula Cruickshank is Senior Vice President of Fund Investments at BDC Capital.